Hello, Once Voice Focus. Just me to start with, just to make this unusual way of starting the podcast, because even in the 30 minutes to an hour since I recorded today or tomorrow's show with Samit Patel, there's been more breaking news in a day or a week of breaking news for Nottingham Forest, or certainly connected to Nottingham Forest. Lyon have been relegated to Ligue 2 by the French Football Federation due to their extensive debts, reportedly over £500 million. They can appeal the decision, but it could have a pretty big impact on Forest and their transfer plans. Danilo reportedly going there for 20 million, Matt Turner for 8 million. Will those deals go ahead now? It seems unlikely whether they would want to go there. Certainly in the case of Danilo. Turner with a World Cup on the horizon. It feels to me that if the decision isn't overturned in connection to Lyon, then those two deals won't go through. And that feels like it has a big impact on Forest transfer plans because they were looking to sell fringe players to bolster their squad and boost their bench. Seems to be the strategy when it comes to signing a couple of players from Juventus, who we discussed last night, and we mentioned here, and rejecting bids for Anthony Elanga and probably any other key player offers that come their way. So it feels like important news for Forest, even though it's not about Forest. But I wanted to drop this extra video in at the start. So good to speak to Samit. We'll go to that interview. We discussed the Anthony Elanga bid to start with. One thing that I forgot to mention is I saw this evening as well, Anthony Garnacho, another young winger, reportedly valued at 70 million. So to me, I mean, that feels high. To me, Elanga's got to be worth 60 at least. I didn't say in the podcast, 11 Premier League assists last season, the joint third highest in the whole league. So the £45 million offer, as we discussed, feels very much a lowball one. But I do just hope that Forest's hand isn't forced at all by not being able to sell Danilo and Turner as planned. Perhaps they can still shift them on, although it does feel like we have got so much out of John Textor. Maybe we've that well has been bled dry for now if we can't do more deals to Lyon. So it was worth mentioning, certainly. So we'll go to the Samit interview. Good to catch up with him. I covered Notts cricket for 5 years, so and knew Samit, hadn't spoken to him for a while, so it was good to reconnect. He's a big Forest fan, and he's got lots of insights on being a sportsman in general, being in a dressing room. So good to hear from him. Hope you enjoy the interview, and we'll go to that now. Hello, welcome to Forest Focus. Normally these summer interviews are meant to be a nice chat with a famous Nottingham Forest fan about their love of the Reds and a bit about themselves. And then we will get to that. We'll also ask today's guest to be a pundit as well, as there is loads happening in the transfer market. But let's introduce our guest first, a legend of Nottinghamshire cricket. Samit Patel, how are you?
Very well, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, good. Good to have you with us. Really looking forward to chatting with you. Like I say, we'll get into some chat about yourself and some cricket chat, obviously. This was delayed a bit to watch the end of the England game, actually. What did you make of that before we get into Forest?
No, that was a great test match. Ben Duckett set up the chase, 149. Joe Root coming to do his stuff in that final bit. It was a great test match. Great advocate for it. India played some really good cricket, so did England. Ebbed and flowed. And England were always going to go for it. It was never going to be a dull draw.
What decides a chase like that, do you think? Is it how much of it is mental versus technical in those situations from experience?
Well, there's a lot of skill to go with that. Yes, it is mental. Having the approach to go and try and knock off 350, 370, I think, is a phenomenal effort. I think you look back 10 years ago and you'd probably just shut up shop and play for a draw. And the way England are going about it at the minute, it's just the whole mindset of winning, risking to win rather than drawing is the mindset at the minute, and it's great to see.
Let's talk Forest then. Obviously, Samit's a big Forest fan, a regular at the City Ground. Let's get in some transfer chat. There's been loads. Anthony Elanga, Newcastle have officially bid, as reported by The Athletic, and then everyone, for 45 million. It's been rejected. Just before it came on with Samit, Sky reporting Newcastle are still considering whether to make a second bid, but they do have other targets. So it sounds like maybe Forest have priced them out of the market. I think they want about 55, 60 million. What's your take on this bid, Samit? Is it a bit of a low ball offer or not?
Absolute low ball. He's got massive amount of pace, and I think that you need that in the Premier League. And that showed last year that how valuable it is to have guys that have got massive, especially in that latter period, that 75 to 90 minutes. It's crucial to have, and if you've got tired legs on there and you've got pace, then you can score goals.
How reluctant would you be to sell him above anyone? I mean, is he almost unsellable asset because of that pace for us? We don't really have anyone else like him, do we?
No, absolutely. I'd be looking to try and hang on to him as much as possible. I know the bids up and above 60 will be thought of and encouraging, but to let go of a guy like him, I think that he's our biggest asset. And you stick in Hudson-Odoi with him, you know the threat that they pose.
What kind of figure then? If you were putting a figure on it, if you were in Marinakis' shoes, what would tempt you?
Well, it'd be over the odds. It'd be like 75 plus. Like you'd have to, otherwise you wouldn't get the caliber of player to replace him, I don't think.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair, I think. So I suppose, yeah, we need Liverpool to make a serious offer as well. Just on Newcastle, sorry, I said Liverpool because Liverpool like Murillo, but they've also been priced out, apparently. It sounds like Forest are taking a firm line. Are you liking that? We're not going to be pushovers this summer.
No, absolutely. They're our players, and hopefully they want to carry on playing for Nottingham Forest and playing for the badge. He's playing for the city. I know it's not at the forefront of the boys' minds, but I think hopefully that we've created a massive family culture as a city that encourages the boys back to play for Forest.
Do you see that? We'll get back to transfers, but do you see that in this group? Having been in sporting dressing rooms your whole life, can you tell when a team believes in each other, is playing maybe not for the badge but for themselves, as you say? Can you see that from the stands or not?
Well, absolutely. You could just see those back four. We had a relentlessness to stop goals going in, like Murillo, Milenkovic, Oliena. Like the guys at the back were phenomenal, and you could see what it meant that when we got over the line to win, and the celebrations that happened, you could just see that the fans are happy, and obviously that they played some really, really good football, but winning was at the forefront of their mind, and obviously making the fans really happy. So, yeah, camaraderie in teams is massive, and I think that they all enjoy people's success in a dressing room, which flows through the team and then through the city, which is great.
Neco's the other member of the back four. Obviously, Fabrizio Romano reporting he's going to sign a new contract till 2029. Is that a bit of a relief? He was entering the final year of his deal. We discussed it on Monday, I think, at length with Temps and Pete on the podcast. Neco and a few others entering that final year. Is that a big relief? Also, a show of faith from Neco in the football club and the way we're going.
He was one of our standout players throughout the year. Grown massively, improved week in week. And yeah, it was fantastic. He's had some outstanding performances throughout the year, and that's just desire to get better, in my opinion. I think some players in dressing rooms get labelled as, are they good enough, are they not? And if that doubt ever comes, then you can see what players that want to get better and then want to improve, and Neco was definitely one of those, and it was a credit to him because it was great to see.
On the transfer front, in terms of incomings, it looks like we might be signing a couple of players from Juventus, Samuel Mbangula, Timothy Weah. We discussed them with Adam Summerton last night at length. If you haven't seen that, do check them out. I haven't seen much of them. Samit hasn't seen much of them, so I won't ask him about that. But possibly Sosa and Jota are going. It feels like the strategy is we're not going to sell any of our main players with the Elanga bid being rejected, and we're going to bolster the squad with better bench players than we had last season, with all due respect. Is that a strategy that makes sense to you, or would you like us to have sold maybe a Gibbs White or a Murillo to go really big in the transfer market? Which strategy would you prefer?
No, bench strength is what I would be going for, and I think quite rightly so that Sosa and Jota were the probably unfortunate ones to go, but obviously strengthening the bench is most important, because if you want to make tactical decisions going forward down the line, I think you're going to need better players to come off the bench and make an impact, and that's obviously what the gaffer's thinking.
What did you make of Jota and Sosa last season?
No, look, the boys worked hard. Like, there's no doubt about that. Quality-wise, you sometimes question, but it's hard to question people that come off the bench, and it's hard to try and get into a game when you come off the bench to try and make an impact. And if you don't get the ball for a bit and we're defending, and do you know, like going forward, Sosa's got a lot of pace, but obviously you got to do the other stuff as well. And I think that we just lacked a little bit of quality on the bench that we could have brought on, and hopefully we can try and improve this year.
I mean, it looks like Danilo's going, Matt Turner's going. There was a report today saying that we're interested in Jordan Henderson. I think in the Mail, he can join on a free. He can leave Ajax on a free, I should say. There's a few clubs interested. It's not gone down well with the fans. What do you make of it in terms of a veteran presence in the dressing room? Is he over the hill, or would you be on board?
Absolutely not. I'll be on board. Premiership experience, keeping the guys together, especially in tough when the season gets tough. You're going to need an experienced head that's been there and done it, and I think that Jordan is one of those people. Is he the right man? We'll never know, but his kind of player is very important to a team like us because we're hardworking, we stick together, and I think that you need some kind of glue and solidarity in that middle part of the phase, in the middle part. So I wouldn't think it would be a bad shot, to be honest. As we've got the ball makers, we've got the ballers going forward. Just in that middle bit, can we just make it a bit more solid? He wouldn't be a bad signing.
I suppose there's the mentality thing as well. I mean, when we were finishing last season, we were dropping points. We're going into Europe. Do you think a bit of streetwise, a bit of experience is another factor we might be looking at?
Absolutely. You can't buy it in Tesco's, as we always say as old blokes. I think that, the more experience, the better, really. As I said, been there and done it. Got the silverware. Yeah, it's not a bad idea. As you said, we're going to need a bigger squad, and experience plays a massive part.
Yeah, I can see it. I don't think he should be in the England team. I think maybe that's ship sailed when you look at Rice and Bellingham. But as a squad player replacing Danilo, then I don't think it's the worst shout, certainly. I mean, maybe you're this player now at Derbyshire, that wise old head to mentor a few younger lads. I don't know, but can you think maybe it's you, or maybe is there a player at Notts who's come in and done that role when you were there as well that made a big impact?
Well, you look back and that 2017 double white ball winning team, we bought through a Tom Moore's in the white ball stuff. Really get the gloves away in T20, and Morsey came in, and we kind of nurtured him along with me, DC, and Mole. Gave him a free role, and then we had Billy Root at number 8 as a spare batter. Those two blokes were luxury players for us because me and Mole and DC all bowled and battered. We could play the extra batter if we wanted and play the extra ball if we wanted. And we chucked Tom up 3. And I just think that young players will definitely learn off experience. It's not a bad idea at all, in my opinion.
Was that the best dressing room you played in or not? Obviously, you were there for so much success. Which one would you, if you were wanting to be in the trenches with the team now, which one would it have been?
Definitely that team. 17 brought a lot of memories. 2013 also brought some memories. But if you're looking back, 17, the characters through thick and thin, we stuck together. I just have to rattle a few names off: Taylor, Hales, Lum, Vessels, Christian Mulaney. The list goes on. Ball, Fletcher, Gurney, Ajmal Shazad in 13, and Dave Hussey, Stephen Fleming when I first started. You got Reedy, Frank C. Solid old pros like Darren Bicknell, Jason Gallion. Those guys had been there and done it, and I was coming through, and I think you need it. I think you need to see how it's been done. Mark Elam, great signings. Ryan Sidebottom, absolutely great signing. Andre Adams, like all these guys. I'm sure someone like a Zach Abbott would definitely learn some stuff off the older boys that have come in the dressing room. 100%.
Yeah, definitely. We'll get back to football. We'll merge it all with cricket, obviously, as we go along. Just before that, a word for the Trent Navigation. Tomorrow night, this is England under 21 v Holland under 21. You can watch it at the Nav. Elliot Anderson will be in action after his penalty heroics. Should be a good game, so do check that out, I'm sure. Talk to us a little bit about Forest and yourself. Is it a family thing, or did you fall into it yourself as a kid? How did you become a Forest fan?
That was a season ticket holder for years and years. Watched it watch as he keeps reminding me of the good old days and we were never going to get there and X, Y, and Z. But no, I've always been Forest through and through, and always will be. Watched them all over League One, Championship, Cups. Yeah, Forest will always stick with me for forever. Red through and through. So yeah, that's how it started, and that's how it will always be.
Your kids into it yet or not?
Yeah, mate, my little one, my 11-year-old, Forest took him to Wembley twice. Yeah, he's been there, and he's actually witnessed some good days, and he's not been to, say, a Barnsley or a Plymouth Argyle away on a Tuesday rainy night in the winter. So yeah, I've been lucky to watch Forest, and hopefully we're in the best period at the minute.
Have you told him, actually, it might not always, or maybe it will, but it might not always be like this? Have you reminded him of that yet or not?
I have, but kids, as you know, don't listen. So, yeah.
Yeah, mine don't, certainly. I know that. One of the things I wanted to get you on about is I follow you on Twitter, and you relentlessly back the players, which we try to do on here, but you really are behind them and are loath to criticise. Is that, do you think, through your kind of background as an athlete, you know what it's like? So something I think we're guilty of as fans is there's two teams on the pitch and you can forget that. Is that something that affects your approach?
Well, yeah, because we know when things are really high, they're high. And then when things don't go for you, we know that as players, we know that we don't do anything different. And we do the same routine, we train the same way, and it just doesn't work. But as fans, people don't see that, or they won't get it. And that's why I am always very low. I don't criticise so much, because I know nobody means to do the mistakes that people make, especially in a highly critical sport where they're so passionate, and they're very quick to criticise, but they're not very quick to give credit. And it doesn't really sit well with me sometimes that you sit and listen to people talk and they say it as it comes so easy, like, well, it's very easy. Well, it's not actually, because unless you've been in the situation, it's quite difficult. And all about pressure, if you ask me. Professional sport is all about, just in life in general, it's about pressure, really. And that's why I'm very low to criticise, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, you've had probably terrible journalists writing stupid stuff about you. Maybe the person asking questions of you tonight might have done it in years gone by as well. Yeah.
Well, no, yeah, but you are there to answer critics and try and prove wrong. And hopefully the longevity of however long you play in professional sport, you can do that over a number of years. And I hope that, yeah, the people that play for Forest know that obviously there are going to be guys that are going to criticise them every week, and all eyes are on them. And just, the message, hopefully, from a player point of view, is that we kind of ignore it and just move on and try and get better for the next game. And yeah, hopefully putting a match-winning performance in that gets the fans back on board.
What are you looking for next season? We discussed this at length. There's a lot more on our plate with Europe. There's a lot of teams with a lot of dynamics changing. Brentford, Brighton, Spurs, United, etc., etc. What are you hoping for from Forest next season?
Well, what am I hoping? Well, I'm hoping for some consistency again in how we play our football. We had a real identity of how we wanted to play our football and stuck to it, regardless if we lost a game or not, or we were going down the route of losing a few games or not. But we've got to be true to ourselves and play the way Nottingham Forest as a team want to play. And I think that's stuck to the gaffer and the players that want to play. And yeah, we've got some ballers. We know we've got ballers and we've got pace. For me, it's just adding to the squad of putting in consistent performances week in, week out. And I'm sure as fans we'll be more than happy with that. If we see good football, which we saw this year, we played some really, really good football, attacking football, scored goals. Woody, Elanga, Hudson-Odoi, Gibbs-White, outstanding. Murillo, you can just name all of them. They're really good. Neco. So can we add to the squad, and can we play maybe a different style of football that no one's expecting us? Because obviously we've had 1 year of playing a certain way. I always say in cricket in terms, if you've had a good year in a year, then people are going to now know where, as a batsman, they're going to bowl at you. Have you done your homework in the winter period or off season to develop new strategies and new positions and new style of football, or like that? That for me is how we're going to get better. If you're brutally honest.
Do you think missing out on the Champions League, obviously it's a disappointment, but as long as they take something from it, is it beneficial? You'll have been in situations where you've had a tough day, a tough loss. If you learn from it and improve in the long run, it's probably a good thing overall for us, or not?
But absolutely, I think that we overachieved, if you ask me. Champions League maybe would have been a step too far. If you ask me, you have to play a different type of football for Champions League football. And European football, you have to play a different type of football, and your squad needs to be wider. So playing the football that we want to play, I think that we should actually sometimes play a different style of football to catch teams out, because they're going to be expecting the same thing. And to freshen the way we play up is probably really important, and have 2 or 3 ways to play football, not just one way of playing football.
Yeah, I hope the Igor Jesus signing helps with that. Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
We play some attacking football, and people the stat of as soon as we go behind we can't win, and that's the kind of stat I don't like, to be honest. Like that, as players should should drive the players more to say, no, if we do go behind, we can still win the game. Because we, as probably stats would probably back it up, is that as soon as we went behind, we wouldn't win. We may scrape to a draw, but we wouldn't win. Now can we flip that? We go 1-0 down, can we win 2-1?
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. Like, it's just really simple stuff. And do we have the players to do that, for one? And the gaffer will know that. So I'm sure the owner and the gaffer will talk through things and sign accordingly.
No, I think you're right. Simple goals can have big impacts. Look at a year ago, we were talking about we couldn't defend a corner to save our lives, and we improved that. And then we've got 30 more points, not just because of that, obviously, but you know what I mean. So making an impact, certainly in that sense, would be massive. I mentioned Igor Jesus, I should have said earlier. John Percy wrote in the Telegraph that the Jesus and Jai Cunha signings are still on track. So touch wood on that front. That should be good business. Obviously, you'd love to play for Nuno, because then you'd be playing for Forest. But in a general sense, is he a manager that you can see strong attributes in from just watching from afar?
What, to go and take over if he wins?
No. I mean, if you were a player, is he a manager that you'd love to play for? Do you look like a good man manager as much as anything?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the biggest quality. If I would have said Mick Newell would have been, that was his biggest. As a coach, not great, but man manager, fantastic. And asking about the individual is more important than anything else. And I think it looks like Nuno is humble and caring about his players rather than the actual result. Like, the process is more important than the result. So if you do the process right, then I think the result takes care of itself. I think the way Nuno operates, which is really good, because you can get some really ruthless managers, and I don't think he's that ruthless, which actually the characters in the dressing room are it's hard to say, but it's like they're playing for the gaffer, and they're enjoying everyone's success, and you don't normally get that in teams that are not successful. You don't get that, and that's talking from experience. That you don't get it if you're not playing as a team. And I think the first thing the gaffer's done is that we're all play for the same stuff.
Who's the best coach you've played for, out of curiosity? Coaching and managing is different, but in your career?
I always say, if I can combine Peter Moores and Andrew Flower together, then I'll be the best in the world. Because then you've got 2 coaches there, that one that's played international cricket and 2 loves cricket, and 3, the guy that's tells you how it is but wants to make you better in a certain way, and then we'll tell you why you need to do it, and it's pretty black and white. There's no grey area, and genuinely want you to do well. And those two were outstanding.
Well, I want to talk more a little bit about you in cricket shortly. I mean, this is a thing that we always think: are all cricketers frustrated footballers or not? Is that just an old adage that's wrong?
No, I wouldn't say I was a frustrated footballer. Yeah, I love football. I do play football, but I wouldn't say I was a frustrated footballer. No, I didn't want to be a footballer, to be honest.
No. That'll lead us into cricket, certainly. We'll get into that in just one sec. Just for our second sponsors of this show, word of thanks to Vesta Blinds. If you're looking for made-to-measure shutters or blinds, maybe for a cricket pavilion, I don't know, check out vestablinds.com. They are the people to sort it out if you're in Notts or the East Midlands in general. Let's talk about cricket then. It's been your life for so long now. What's the future hold for you? I was looking at your stats this year. You're still making a big contribution with bat and ball for Derbyshire. So you keep going as long as the body will let you, or not?
Absolutely, yeah. As soon as the driving passion goes, I'd stop. Still want to win games of cricket. Still want to win trophies. Still want to keep playing T20 cricket because I really enjoy it. It's something that I'm getting better at, in my opinion, especially where cricket's going at the minute. You've got to keep evolving, otherwise you'll just stay stood still. And yeah, it's funny enough, I've got a better strike rate now than 6 years ago, which is stupid, isn't it? Really, because 40 years old, you kind of on the down curve, but ebbing and flowing towards going to where it should have been about 5-6 years ago now. Like. Yeah, hopefully I'll just keep putting in performances that wins games of cricket.
Do you wish you had another 10 years in the tank with the way cricket's evolving? You're playing around the world, there's different tournaments coming up. Do you like the direction of cricket in general, or has it got a few issues from what you see?
No, well, you can't have any issues seeing Test match cricket we've just seen. No, absolutely not. I think that I wish I did have 10 more years to give. Because I have been around the world, but there's a lot more opportunity now going for more franchises around the world and collecting more T-shirts. So yeah, it's going crazy at the minute. There's lots of opportunity to play cricket around the world and at any given stage.
How's it been at Derbyshire? I mean, you were in that Notts shirt, that Notts dressing room for so long. Was it an alien feeling to start with or not?
A little bit. It was always different to move, as I'd never experienced moving to a different county, let alone just down 52. It was slightly different. It took me at least 5 or 6 months to get used to it, not being around the lads that I was used to, and not knowing anyone at Derbyshire. So, yeah, it always takes a little bit of time to get used to players. They don't know me and I don't know them. But yeah, no, I thoroughly enjoyed the captaincy. I think that developing players through their careers is probably one thing that I'd like to do more. Just handing little nuggets out of how about they can go about their business in a better way, which will give them the longevity in the game.
What was it? I guess it was pretty hard leaving Notts. You've been there for so long. I don't know how you feel about it now, but you talk, about the things that you're doing away from there now. Is it something that, with hindsight, has been good for you, or do you deep down wish it hadn't happened?
No, obviously I don't wish it would have happened. I wanted to stay at Notts, and unfortunately I didn't get the opportunity to sign another contract. It wasn't offered. So that was a little bit disappointing, but I still wanted to play and still wanted to put in match-winning performances that I'm still doing. So that's why I had no really other option to sign elsewhere.
Is it a bit of you had that generation, yourself, Fletch, Hales, you mentioned Brendan Taylor, a bit of a changing of the guard there with new faces coming in. 2 questions. Are you following from afar still for Notts? And also, are you still in touch with that group of lads? Is there always a bond that kind of can't be broken, even though you go all around the world now? No,
those bonds will never be broken. Hales, I went to his wedding in South Africa. I always see Lummy and our kids play together at Plumtree. And so does I see Swanee a bit. Reedy, when I can get hold of him, we have a few beers. So no, Notts will never really leave me. Notts through and through. Always watching out for the boys. Always wishing them success. Obviously, not when I'm playing against them, as you've seen that.
I think you enjoyed that when you did well against them. Yeah.
Yeah, well, absolutely. Well, I just know the ground at Trent Bridge. There's no getting away from that. I've been there and done it at Trent Bridge for so many years. I just know the angles. Yeah, it's just one of those grounds that will always stay within my heart.
Would you go back? I don't know what if you coaching. It sounds like you passing knowledge on to younger generation. I don't know if coaching's on the agenda for you or not. But would you ever think about going back to Notts?
Yeah, I'd love to. Yeah, I'd love to go and do some work with the boys when I finish playing cricket. Obviously, giving back something into a club that hopefully can benefit going forward and produce England players. And that's one of the sole goals that I played for Notts was to try and play for England. And I think if Liam Patterson White can go and put on an England 3 Lions shirt, and yeah, I think that hopefully I can give him a few little nuggets to go and do that, and then I'll be over the moon for that. So yeah, I just think that producing England players should be at the forefront of counties' minds, and yeah, we'll see what happens.
Let's finish on a Forest question. Thanks for a Forest podcast. As we sit here right now, it looks like we're retaining the core of our squad. Hopefully key players are signing a new deal, and touch wood, we're strengthening it with some kind of not risky signings, but the kind of signings you make when you haven't got huge pots of money. Are you really happy with the way it's shaping up this summer? And obviously the bigger picture, like you said, it feels like, certainly in our memories, the club's in the best place it's been, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's in a really, really good place, and I think that we can only add strength to the squad. It's only my opinion, but I think we need a couple of strikers and a couple of midfielders, and obviously you can't get enough defenders. So look, we'll see where we're at, but I think we're in a really, really good spot. Sign smartly and keep the faith with what we've got. It's definitely worked. A few bad performances will never change that, especially from my point of view, it won't change, as you've clearly known in my tweets. But yeah, I just think sticking with the players is what's most important, and that feel around the City ground should always be backing the lads. And I know they do, but I just think that we need to do it a little bit better and smarter. And I'm trying to make it a derby as well. I'm trying to make the City ground really uncomfortable to come and play. Where sometimes we can be a little bit too nice. But yeah, I just think the atmosphere at the City ground has been fantastic, and we should always follow the boys and back the boys 100%.
Too nice as fans or too nice as a team?
Too nice as a team, yeah.
We'll get some tackles flying in. That's what we want. Excellent. Yeah. Excellent. We shall leave it there. Really good to have Samit on. If you've enjoyed this, do us a favour, hit like, hit subscribe. Do consider a membership or Patreon, or just lovely 5-star review on Apple or Spotify. We always give the guests any final words, Samit. If there's anything you want to say, anything you want to add, anything you want to plug even, I don't know, the floor is yours.
No, come on, you Reds.
Perfect words to end on. There we go. We shall be back tomorrow. We'll do some transfer chat as normal, and then we'll have another guest on Friday. So yeah, stay with us the rest of the week. But if you can't join us tomorrow, thanks for your company today. Do hit like on this video, and we shall see you soon.